had a request about each individual species that I actually have and how I care for them and how I look after them. And you know, I will give you an idea about each individual species, but I also want you to always remember they may be of that species, and most of what I will tell you will be certainly relevant to them as that species, but also remember you must place a lot of relevance on your snakes as individuals. Well, I've just got back from dropping kids as I do first thing in the morning, and before I left, my girl Lily, who is now in a hide of course, was desperately wanting out. So I've opened a door just to let her know she can come out. Of course she's probably to some degree in there sulking on me because I didn't open the door immediately, but I'm going to wait and see how long it actually takes Miss Lily to decide that she's going to come out, because, well, okay, the door's open and I've sulked enough. You know, I wish I could set a camera up 24 hours so you can see her day and evening, because Miss Lily, she's her own female snake, I tell you. So anyway, I'll turn it off and I will give her a chance to decide whether she's going to come out and join me. So we'll be back soon. Well, there you go. Turn my head for like 2 seconds and here she is. Oh, you're coming? Oh no, she says, are you gonna, do I have to go back home, Mum? No, sweetie pie. No, you can come out with me today. I do not have to leave the house at all. Of course, I've got to go and pack a couple of bags and stuff and get some things organised, but Lily can have the enjoyment of being out here until she really does want to go home, and unless I get a phone call to say, could you do this, or actually I'm wrong, I do have to go out again today. My goodness, now I think about it, because I have a meeting to attend and a doctor's appointment to attend. So, oh my goodness, why do I do this to myself? Why do I do it to you, Lily? But you can have a couple of hours with me, I promise, which is not going to be enough for Lily, is it? Hey? Because your coming out is an all-day effort. It's never a couple of hours. So, you know, that constantly letting you know that snakes love it equally out as much. Well, in Lily's case, I can honestly say she loves it out more than she loves it in. And I think that's absolutely fabulous most of the time, because it isn't always convenient that Lily prefers out than in. And she's a bit of a mischief maker. And what you'll realise with some of your snakes is some are easy breezy, cruisy, and behave themselves. And that's the only way I can describe it. They behave themselves. And Jack especially, and even Lacey fits in that category. Even Maya, my little spotted, can be mischievous. She will come out, she wants to get down, and she wants to go, and she wants to disappear. She wants to go and get up under the pillows, and being a small snake, she disappears on me. So I've really got to be vigilant with her. My jungles, as in Lily and Jessie, are of course my mischief makers. Jessie not so bad at this particular point, but I can see that is where he's going to go. But today, guys, you know, I've had a request about each individual species that I actually have and how I care for them and how I look after them. And, you know, I will give you an idea about each individual species, but I also want you to always remember they may be of that species, and most of what I will tell you will be certainly relevant to them as that species, but also remember you must place a lot of relevance on your snakes as individuals, because I can say to you, Lily this and Jessie that, but your snake might not. So I'll get through the video and then you can get an idea of what it is that you would like to implement with your snake and tweak it to what your snake is. So trying to keep the camera on Lily to some degree, but jungles are semi-arboreal. I have stated many times that all snakes are semi-arboreal to some degree. Some are more arboreal than others, and I would certainly put my jungles in to that classification. They like to be off the ground more than they are on the ground. They don't necessarily hide, but I would not say to you do not have hide boxes available for them either. If you may only need one, then again you might need two. And this is what I mean about your snake as an individual. So currently for Lily, for example, she does have a hide box, and I'll switch down to here so you can see, which I have up a warm end. But you know, she was in there, and that was a little bit about let me out, carry on, because not very often she goes in there, and not even when she's in shed. So Lily is certainly a very, very outgoing girl, a very relaxed girl, trusting girl, aren't you, Lil? Yeah, just have a look at me. I can see you. She's checking to see if I'm still here and watching her, and if she can get down some sneaky little spot. I am not a silly person. And she's going, and I'm not a silly snake either, Mum. So I do have a hide box. When I first got Lily, she had two. She used them, but now that she's feeling that trust and safety, she doesn't bother with them so much. I will probably always keep this in here, and mainly because it kind of keeps her logs up. So I've got this in here right up under her heat panel. So that is where she will bask and warm up, and yeah, she loves being up off the ground. So heat, I use heat panels. Other people use heat lamps or globes. It depends on what your setup is. Lily is currently living in a 1200 by 600 by 600 enclosure. I am still, yes, getting her new enclosure done, which is 1200 by 1200 by 600. So she's going to have ample room to get up off the ground, go up higher and bask. Over the winter I will be putting floor heat in for her. So I know down there it's also warm. She will be going up from a 40 watt heat panel to an 80 watt heat panel as well. So I know that heat distribution is going to manage that size enclosure for her. So most definitely give your jungles the availability to get off the ground and bask. They do like to bask under their heat more than I believe they would use belly heat. That's just my personal opinion. Heat. Jungles do like it warmer. I keep Lily's heat between 31 to 32. The cool end, I don't even really worry about it. I don't really even look at it. So that, so long as it doesn't go below 20, there's no issues. I also have the availability for her to be off the ground over on her cool side, which I'm sure that elevation is even warmer up on that level. So and Lily loves a hammock, and I can't say enough to people out there, if you have the ability to put a hammock in their enclosure, go for it. They aren't expensive, and your snake will get lots of time using it, and they will use it. None of my snakes do not use a hammock. So currently at the moment, Amaya, my Darwin, hasn't got one, but I've bought her one, and I will be putting it in there for her. So yes, I love the hammocks for them. So that is the setup, the heating temperatures, how I heat my enclosures. And they like the humidity. I wouldn't let it go below 45 or sit below 45, and I wouldn't let it go over 60, and I certainly wouldn't let it constantly sit at 60 either. So anywhere between that 45 and 60, your jungles will be quite happy with that. So that is my basic setup and requirements for my jungles. And once they have of Lily's age, which is 4, maybe 5, I can't always remember, guys, but I think 5 maybe. She's a full-grown adult now. So a big enclosure for her, which is coming, will be wonderful, and that will now be her absolute permanent forever enclosure. So I think also outside of their enclosures, jungles are vibrant, energetic, full of personality snakes. They truly are, and that is for carpet pythons across the board. They just seem to be that way, or how I've found them to be. They all do have their own personalities, but I don't know whether it's Lily. For me, she's exceptionally smart, loving, and she uses that smarts and tries to beat me all the time, and believe me, sometimes she does as well. So you can start your as a always when you get a baby, put them in a tub, but always try and stick something in there for them to actually climb on and get up as well. Of course, you will know when they're a size enough to go into something a bit bigger. And I've been fortunate enough to have the availability to go from a tub to a bit bigger, and of course now Jessie is in a 600 by 600 by 750, which is starting to get small. Currently Jessie is down in his hide, but he was up on his hammock before I left, but he's decided to go down there. Lots of climbing space for Jessie as well. He comes out and he hangs all over his branches. He might have his butt on his hammock, but he'll hang off the branches and look at me. He needs a bigger enclosure, there is no doubt about it, and he is also going to be getting a 1200 by 1200 by 600. So that is the ultimate aim for me, is to get them into that size enclosure. Now Jessie is, my goodness, coming up 3, so you know, he's grown a lot and he's still got a bit of growing to do, but he's already quite a substantial size. So I don't believe in going too big either. I don't believe they need massive enclosures, but certainly for a jungle I would consider more so height rather than width. So for me that is more important for them, that actual height. So always give them fresh water. Every other day change your water. And apart from that, you know, they're great jungle carpet pythons. People think that they're these nippy, nasty little buggers, and they're not. I have not had one yet. Well, and I've only got 2, so how can I say anything? But both of mine are not that way at all. So if you have any more questions, you know, I use, and do not forget to use a thermostat with any heating that you use, unless of course there are other things out there that do not require it, and that I do know in the US there's some heating pads you can use that do not require a thermostat. Of course we don't have them here in Australia that we can use them, but I would. And I've got a wonderful friend that has offered to make that available and send them here for me, so I will be using that as the ground heat for Lily in her new enclosure. Of course it will be on the outside of her enclosure, but still she will be having that, and I won't need a thermostat. But currently I use a pulse proportional temperature control system, which of course you know to have your sensor sitting at a level which for me is here, and then I kind of know if that temperature is around the 32 odd, that's what Lily is getting onto her back. So, you know, buy a digital reader for your temperature. They are very precise in what your temperatures are. You can put that on your snake and see what their temperature is as well. Certainly a piece of equipment that you can invest in, and don't go for the cheaper end of them. Pay a little bit more for one. It will be better quality. So I hope this has helped. You can see I use a heat lamp with Jessie at the moment. That will be switching over to a heat panel for him too. So that's about it. Make sure they've got something to climb on and get up off the ground, as jungles like to do. So I'm going to let Lily continue to explore, and of course she's going, ha ha, I found a little hole, but I'm going to stop her from going any further, but she thinks she's got the better of me right now, and she probably has, guys, until I get a bit further, if I can get my feet down here, which I can't. But she's got her head crooked under this. Oh, she's going into the box. Well, Lily, if you think I believe for 2 seconds that you're going to go all the way into that, then you are completely... I found you. I found you. Yes, I did. Sweetie pie. What do you think you're doing? You're going to say hello to Mum? So guys, as always, take care of yourself. And ciao. No, you are not going in that hole. Do you understand? Yes, Mum, I understand, but you know that I do. What? Stubborn as. Totally stubborn. No, you're not going there. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Okay. Ciao.